The highly anticipated moment of the beginning of the 2022 college football season is finally here this afternoon as we get set for a non-conference matchup between the visiting Hiram Terriers and your Bethany Bison as we welcome you to Don Alt Field at Bison Stadium. Great to have you here with us on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. I'm Drew Von Sayo. The Brandon Robinson era of Bethany football officially begins today in just a few minutes, where him and his new coaching staff will look to start the season with a win in their back pocket entering conference play, as just the one non-conference game for the Bison this season. A year ago, these teams met in Hiram, Ohio at Charles A. Henry Field, where the Terriers thrashed the Bison by a score of 41-21. The Bison have won the toss and deferred to the second half. Hiram is set to receive the opening kickoff. Of course, the Bison looking to seek revenge on their home turf after last year's contest. Many of them returners looking to, at the very least, go out with one final non-conference win for the members of the senior class, and those who will be returning for multiple years looking to get another win in their collegiate careers. Michael Jarasinski is our head referee here this afternoon, so we will be turning to him when issues arise, and got to figure out what the call is down on the field. Got a very packed crowd here in attendance at Don Alt Field. Get to see defensive coordinator Dave Arnold's defense along with the Hiram offense here in just a few minutes. Of course, the Bison defense with a lot to prove, as last season was not the best for them, conceding an average of under 40 points a game, right around 39.5 to be exact, and conceding a few ticks under 400 yards per game on average. So a lot will be expected of them here today to keep the Terrier offense at bay. Of course, Hiram offense led by senior quarterback Xavier Riero out of Corona, California. Be looking to get the Terriers started on the right note here on the opening drive. So we see the Bison kicking team make their way out onto the field, led by senior kicker Mansour Ahmed out of London, England. Also a member of the men's soccer team. Ahmed taking part of both teams here this fall, with men's soccer also in action later today once this game concludes, here on Don Alt Field at 6 o'clock against Muskingum, member of the Ohio Athletic Conference. All set for kickoff as Mo Yarbrough back deep to return for the Terriers, and we're underway. It'll be picked up at about the 15-yard line by Yarbrough himself, gets a block and cuts inside, brought down at the 30-yard line, where Riero and the offense will take over. Dante Bellardo getting his name on the stat line already with the early special teams tackle. Ball spotted at the right hash mark is Riero, mentioned the senior out of Corona, California. Last season threw 8 touchdowns and 5 interceptions, just under 1,300 yards. Riero lining up here in the shotgun on 1st and 10. Malcolm Rogers in the backfield behind him. 2 receivers out to the left, handoff to Rogers, cuts it to the left side, finds a hole, barrels his way forward, enough to move the chains. Be a pickup of about 11 there. Malcolm Rogers, senior from Austin, Texas. Hiram continues to operate their offense very efficiently here. Riero again out of the shotgun, handing it right back off to Rogers, fights his way up the middle, and he's brought down just shy of the 45-yard line. Cy Fofang getting in on the stop for the Bison. Hiram operating continuously out of the shotgun. Now 2 receivers split out wide right as Raquan Davis Hereford gets a swing pass out of the backfield, stutter steps his way down to the 50-yard line. You see Dadrick Vickers getting in on the stop there. He's going to bring up 3rd and 7 here for Hiram. Rather, 3rd and 1. Beg your pardon. Rayero back in the shotgun. Rogers to his left, fakes the handoff, fires to the left side. That's brought in just beyond the sticks over there by Mo Yarbrough. That'll be enough to move the chains as the Terriers continue to move the ball rather efficiently here on the opening drive, just over a minute and a half into the first quarter. 4 wide receivers now for Hiram as Rayero drops back to pass, dealing with pressure, steps up into the pocket, and he's brought down in the backfield. Ball's loose. Scramble for it about the 48-yard line, and Hiram falls on top of it. Cy Fofang getting in there to disrupt the presence of Rayero. 2nd and 16 now for Hiram, and that'll fire up the crowd here at Bison Stadium. 3 receivers to the right. Rayero drops back to pass, fires left side. That's hauled in on the far side. Tristan Mollahan bringing in that pass for his first of the season. Isaiah Thomas now getting some action defensively for the Bison. Hiram again lining up 4 receivers out wide. Rayero dropping back to pass, long throw over the middle, and that one just out of the reach there of Mollahan, but a flag on the play. You're going to get Sean Wheeler for pass interference deep in the secondary. Wheeler immediately threw his hands up trying to plead his case, but that one rather obvious. Be a 15-yard penalty there against Wheeler and the Bison. Of course, that penalty will certainly frustrate Coach Robinson. So now Hiram will get the ball, 1st and 10 at the Bison 33-yard line. 3 receivers out to the right. Rayero in the shotgun, hands the ball off to Rogers, cuts it to the left side, picking up the 1st down and more down the left sideline. Rogers bulldozes his way into Sean Wheeler and out of bounds deep inside Bison territory as we have a stoppage in play with 12:10 left to go. A Bison down on the field. We're going to say Rogers stepped out of bounds at the 15-yard line. So not quite a 1st and goal scenario here for Hiram on the opening possession, but efficient ball movement regardless. That ball movement aided by the pass interference penalty, but Bison defense now needing to stand strong. Coach Robinson makes his way out onto the field. We've seen a lot of Malcolm Rogers already here for the Hiram offense. Main feature back of the Terrier offense. Robert Warren, who was the injured Bison, walking off under his own power, always a great sign to see. The Hiram offense quickly makes its way out of the huddle. 3 receivers to the right. Rayero lining up in the shotgun. Rogers directly behind him here. 1st and 10 from the Bison 15-yard line. Clock officially running now. Rayero hands the ball off to Rogers, tries to fight his way up the middle, and he's nowhere to be found as Brennan Smith wraps him up and drops him for a loss of 1. Patrick Shorn getting in there as well, along with Brennan Smith. As Rayero looks over to the sideline, quickly getting the play call. A little bit of a no-huddle offense here for the Hiram Terriers under 3rd-year head coach Jack Mrzinski. Motion left, swing pass out to Kai Francis on the right side, gets a block. Wheeler wraps him up down to the 10-yard line. So we see Isaiah Thomas getting in on the stop as well. Be third down on about 5. Bison looking to force the Terriers to 3. Gonna spot it at the 9-yard line, so third down and 4 to be exact. Empty backfield here for Rayero with Rogers in the slot right side. Drops back to pass, finds Rogers. Nice hit there on the near side by Isaiah Thomas. And now it's going to be enough to move the chains to set up first and goal for the Terriers.
First down, Hiram. First and goal from the 4.
Give them a fresh set of downs and 3 more opportunities to punch it in from the 4-yard line. Rayero still in the shotgun. Rogers to his left this time, hands it off to Rogers himself, tries to fight up the middle, and is stopped dead in his tracks. There's a herd of Bison stop Rogers there. Second and 4 now at the 4. Rogers now directly behind Rayero, gets the handoff once again, cuts to the left side, breaks the tackle of Jordan Aldridge, and down to about the 2-yard line there. Pickup of half the distance by Malcolm Rogers. Fofang again, getting his hands dirty. Third and goal from the 3. The Bison again an opportunity to force Hiram to a field goal. All hands on deck here for the Bison as Rayero takes his time getting the play call from the sideline. 5 wide go the Terriers. Rogers split out into the slot left. Rayero drops back to pass, fires left side, knocked away. A strong defensive play there by Sean Wheeler. And now it's decision time for Jack Mrzinski, and he sends on the field goal unit. Bison defense stands tall as the Terriers look to get on the board with the chip-in field goal. Chris Miller, the kicker for the Hiram offense. 20-yard field goal here for Miller. Fink, the snapper, alongside Murray, the holder. Murray gets the snap. Hold is good. Kick on its way. Up and good. So the Bison defense implementing the bend but don't break mentality. Hiram will strike first with an early 20-yard field goal courtesy of Chris Miller. And now we'll get to see Marquise Robinson lead the Bison offense here momentarily. Of course, Robinson was the backup quarterback last year behind then senior Dom Salinetro. Salinetro has since graduated, so Robinson will get the opportunity to take the reins as the starter after the kick return by the Bison with Trey Dean and Devon McWhorter back deep.
The deep man, number 1, Devon McWhorter. And number 7, Trey Dean.
Chris Miller setting up the football off of the left hash mark. 9:20 to play here in the opening quarter. Relatively long first drive there for the Hiram Terriers, resulting in just 3 points. Of course, that was aided by the pass interference penalty against Sean Wheeler and the Bison defense. Miller completes his run up. Booming kick. Fielded at about the 5-yard line, rather over the head there of Devon McWhorter. It'll bounce into the end zone for a touchback. And the Bison offense will set up shop at the 20-yard line, rather 25. The Bison going to line up here. 4 receivers out wide, 2 to each side, the right and the left. Wide side right. Robinson operating in the shotgun. Trey Owens to his right. Robinson motioning McWhorter from left to right, gets the snap, hands it off to Owens, tries to fight through a hole on the left side, wrapped up after a gain of about 1 by Terry Allison. Gain of 1 there for Trey Owens, the senior out of Baltimore, Maryland. Last year, Marquise Robinson, 1 touchdown on 27 completions in relief of Salinetro. Gets the snap again. Fakes the handoff to Owens. Quarterback keeper Robinson fighting his way up the middle. Just shy of the 35 rather. And they're going to signal that Robinson did just enough to move the chains. Robinson with a little bit of a do-it-myself mentality. Now the Bison offense, the one that is picking up the tempo. Robinson again in the shotgun. Fakes it off to Trey Owens, finds a wide open Devon McCorder. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown Bison. Marquise Robinson to Devon McCorder, 64 yards to the house. And the Bison claim the lead with 8:13 to play in the first quarter. A picture-perfect start to the Brandon Robinson era offensively as Marquise Robinson floated one over the top and McCorder says, "I'll do the rest myself." As the kicking team makes its way onto the field, it'll be John McCardle set to complete the PAT. That'll fire up the Bison bench along with the crowd. Cummings the snap to Elijah Hernandez. Kick is up on its way. Ricochets off of the left upright. Extra point no good, so the Bison lead stays at 6-3.
Bethany 6, Hiram 3.
8:13 to play here in the first quarter. Bison defense now playing with the lead, going to be looking, try and make its mark here, keep the Terriers offense at bay. Kickoff unit back out for Bethany. Coach Robinson utilizing 2 kickers in various scenarios. Mansour Ahmed for kickoffs, John McArdle for PATs, possibly field goals. We've yet to see the Bison attempt any sort of field goal. Marquise Robinson getting some appreciation on the sidelines. Quarterbacks coach Josh Rance, one of many new members of the Bison coaching staff under Brandon Robinson, with Raekwon Davis Hereford back deep to return. Picks up the ball at about the 18-yard line, cuts it to the right side, forced into the sideline, and a massive hit there on the right side. That'll stop the Terriers offense, and now Hiram taking exception there to the hit by Davion Eason. Eason, the junior from Ocala, Florida. And that was a massive hit there in front of the Bison sideline.
Terrier ball first and 10 from the 31.
Ball being spotted at the 31-yard line. Rayero and company making their way back out onto the field. 4 wide receivers, 2 to the wide side left. The ball at the right hash. Rayero in the shotgun, fakes the handoff to Rogers. Out route there on the near side by Davis Hereford. Pickup of about 5. The Bison trying to limit the amount of yardage that Hiram picks up here. Just shy of the halfway point of the first quarter. Rayero dropping back to pass, fires it over the middle, tipped into the Bison sideline by Dadrick Vickers. Vickers, senior from Miami Gardens, Florida, making his presence known there to Xavier Rayero. 3rd and 5. Hiram at their own 36. Rayero getting the play call from the sideline. 2 in the backfield now for Rayero. Hands the ball off there on the left side. It's going to be cut back up the middle. Ball's on the ground. The Bison say they have it. Wait for the official signal, and they do. The Bison defense forces a turnover. It was Dante Venter is the one who coughed up the football.
Number 5, Jordan Aldridge.
Aldridge falls on it. And now the Bison offense
Number 3, Markel Ross.
with a very short field now to operate from. Bison going to be taken over at the 37-yard line. 3 receivers to the wide side left from Marquise Robinson and company. Robinson relaying some instructions to his offensive line before getting the snap. Pitch out to Trey Owens, left side, makes a man miss. Trips his way down to about the 36. Gain of 1 there by Trey Owens.
Trey Owens, the ball carrier, brought down by number 95, Damian Conklin.
Conklin getting in on the stop there for
2nd and 10.
Hiram as they rule that Owens only made it back to the line of scrimmage. And now the 3 wide side receivers move to the right. Owens to the left of Robinson. High snap. Corrals it. Robinson with the quarterback keeper down the left sideline. Robinson into the secondary and more. Thrown out of bounds down to the 10-yard line. A huge gain there for the Bison offense. And it'll set up 1st and goal for Bethany. Ruled to have stepped out at the 7-yard line.
Bison, 1st down. Ball placed at 12.
Rather, they're going to spot the ball at the 12-yard line. So the Bison will have the opportunity to pick up a fresh set of downs before having it enter goal territory as Owens and Stoneman line up in the Bison backfield. Robinson hands the ball up off to Stoneman, back up the middle.
Hand off to number 34.
Relatively short gain there, gain of about 1.
Brought down by number 20.
He made it back to the line of scrimmage.
Gain of 1, 2nd down and 9 from the 11.
Going to give Stoneman a yard there. The Bison continue to utilize 2 running back set. Owens to the left of Robinson, Stoneman to the right. Now Owens being motioned out wide, and a flag is going to stop any momentum that the Bison have. It'll be a false start against the Bison, just a matter of who the particular guilty party is. We're going to rule that false start there on Ben Wright, the senior from Bridgeville, Pennsylvania. So that'll push the Bison back to a 2nd and 14 at the Hiram 16. Short field for the Bison offense after the defense was able to force a fumble. Robinson fakes the handoff to Owens. Diving grab there, tried to be pulled in by Tim Mickens, but the throw from Robinson just a bit too low. They'll set up a 3rd and long now for the Bison inside the red zone. Just a few ticks above 5.5 to play here in the opening quarter. Marquise Robinson already 1 touchdown pass on the afternoon. Found Devon McWhorter for 64 yards over the top. McWhorter lined up in the left side slot. Robinson drops back to pass. Gets a block there from Owens, and then Robinson swallowed up in the backfield. Saraki bringing down Robinson for the sack. They'll set up 4th down. And now the Bison offense appears they're going to stay out on the field. Very aggressive from Brandon Robinson in his first game as Bison head coach. The 4th and 19 from the 21-yard line. Robinson in the shotgun, gets the snap, drops back to pass, fires it over the middle, finds Chris Williams. He's going to be wrapped up short of the sticks, but a penalty marker is down in the backfield. So now we await to see what the flag is and whether or not it impacts the play. It's going to be a holding penalty against the Bison offensive line. Jack Mrzinski, the Terriers head coach, going to decline the penalty and allow Hiram to take over at their own 7-yard line. So the decision there to go for it on 4th down doesn't pay off for the Bison, but now Hiram has to march its way down the entirety of the field. Once again led by senior quarterback Xavier Reyero. Rogers lining up to the left there of Reyero in the shotgun. Motion from the Bison defense. Markel Ross switching places as Ross is set to cover the slot. Play clock down to 5 as Rogers shifts from left to right. And now a stoppage in play as got multiple flags before the snap.
Snap infraction, offense, number 56.
It's going to be a snap infraction against Hiram. That'll move them back 4 yards down to the 3, half the distance. So now Hiram backed up even further here with Reyero in the end zone, and the Bison got Hiram to jump early. That'll back up the Terriers even further.
Offense, number 3. Half a distance to the goal.
A penalty there against Hiram. Very costly as they had very little room to work with as it is, and now that number continues to decrease. Reyero back the pass, tries to find Tristan Mollahan, fitted into a tight window, but Mollahan cannot corral the pass. Reyero playing with a little bit of fire there as Vickers could have easily walked that one into the end zone, but Mollahan unable to corral the pass. Reyero relaying instructions to his offensive line. Operating now in the shotgun. Motion left, then back left. Finds wide open man on the left side of the field. Does Reyero. That's Davis Hereford. Pickup of about 4. It's going to bring up 3rd and 10 here for Hiram. Dadrick Vickers again getting his name in things. Rogers lined up to the right here of Reyero. Drops back to pass. Plenty of time. Pocket collapsing. Takes a big hit. Finds a wide open man over the middle. That's Davis Hereford again. More than enough to move the chains as Reyero again took a huge hit in the backfield just after releasing the football. As Hiram gets itself a little bit of breathing room. Offense working now at the 20-yard line. Under 4 minutes to play here in the opening quarter. High snap to Reyero, handed off to Rogers up the middle as Jordan Aldridge thought he had him brought down, but the play continues as Rogers fights his way forward for a pickup of about 6. Aldridge certainly frustrated with himself there. Lewis being credited with the stop. They're going to give Rogers 7 there. Lines up again in the backfield. Reyero back to pass. Quick feed in over the middle. Again finding Raekwon Davis Hereford. Another first down picked up by the Terriers as Raekwon Davis Hereford has become the go-to target for Xavier Reyero in the season opener. Of course, last season, Davis Hereford 674 yards on 38 receptions and 4 touchdowns. Reyero back to pass again. Tries to find Davis Hereford on a swing route, but just out of reach. Bring up 2nd and 10. Again, just as I was speaking there of Raekwon Davis Hereford, Reyero goes right back to him. See Gavin Brazel check into the game for Hiram. Lining up in the slot on the near side right. Reyero drops back to pass in shotgun formation. Finds Jarius Green. Drags his way forward for a pickup of about 5. Rain getting in the game for the first time as we see more substitutions for the Hiram offense. Umar Kasim checking into the game, the tight end for the Terriers. Bison defense looking to force a stop here on 3rd and 6. Rayero drops back to pass, takes a huge hit again, and it's broken up on the near side by Isaiah Thomas, the junior from Columbus, Ohio. Almost taking that one back to the house had he been able to hang on. Rayero continues to play with fire, and after picking up a few first downs, the Hiram offense now retreats to the sideline and sends the punting team on. Noah Murray makes his way to punt for Hiram for the first time out of Warren, Ohio. McWhorter, the lone return man for the Bison. McWhorter standing at about his own 28. High snap, Murray contains. High kick, McWhorter going to call for a fair catch, and he fields it at the 24-yard line. That's where the Bison offense will take over once again. So the Bison offense has had 2 drives thus far, one in which they went the majority of the distance down the field. Robinson finding McWhorter for 64 yards, and then taking over deep inside Hiram territory courtesy of a forced fumble in which the drive ultimately stalled out inside the red zone, in which the Terriers defense held strong. The Bison still up by 3 here. Now looking to add more to their lead. 4 wide set for Bethany. Owens to the left of Robinson in the backfield. Robinson calls out some adjustments. Hands the ball off to Trey Owens up the middle. Makes a man miss. Now kicks it to the outside. Owens still on his feet, fighting his way just shy of the 30-yard line. They're going to spot him at the 28. So a pickup of about 4 there for the senior out of Baltimore, Maryland.
Runs over a couple of defenders before being brought down by Case Scott. 2nd down 6.
Case Scott getting in on the stop there for Hiram. Ball being spotted at the right hash. 2 receivers to the wide side left. It's Chris Williams and Trey Dean. Robinson fakes the handoff to Owens. Tries to find Mickens in the flat. In and out of his hands, and now it sets up 3rd and 6 for the Bison offense. Coach Robinson talked on Thursday about needing to take care of the football, particularly in terms of avoiding turnovers, but would have to lump that one into the same category as the ball went in and out of Mickens' hands in a hurry. Robinson getting some instructions from the sidelines. Play clock down to single digits as Owens shifts from right to left. Fakes the handoff to Trey Owens. Robinson going to keep it himself, fights his way up the middle. Tries to get back to the line of scrimmage, a pickup of about 1. And now the punt team going to make its way on for the Bison. So Bethany stalls the offense after just 3 plays. So Hiram going to get the ball right back with Malcolm Rogers back deep for the Terriers. Freshman punter Jeremiah Devertail set to make the first punt of his Bison career. With Rogers standing at about his own 35-yard line. High snap over the head of Devertail, and Devertail going to avoid the tackle and now scrambling, brought down inside his own 5-yard line at the 4. And that was about as disastrous as it could get. Certainly not the fault there of Jeremiah Devertail, but a very short field now for Hiram with 41.3 to play in the opening quarter. Needing just 4 yards to punch the ball into the end zone, and can certainly see on the near sideline here, Coach Robinson not pleased in the slightest. Rayero and company make their way back out onto the field. Rogers lining up directly behind Xavier Rayero, and now flag on the play as it appears Hiram got caught with 12 men on the field.
Illegal substitution, offense,
Be an
12
illegal
formation.
substitution penalty, so that'll back Hiram up to the 9-yard line. Of course, the Bison will certainly take a little bit of breathing room, but now for Hiram, backing it up almost provides a little bit of relief as it has the potential to open up the playbook slightly for the Terriers. Rayero gets the snap, hands the ball off to Rogers, carries it up the middle, makes a man miss, and Malcolm Rogers walks his way into the end zone, but a flag is down. Dadrick Vickers trying to plead his case. If this penalty is on Hiram, the touchdown will be coming back. Wait for the call here from Michael Jarasinski. There'll be a block in the back there against Jarvis Green. So that'll push Hiram even further back. The Terriers started this drive at the Bison 4 and are now currently at the Bison 16. So in the span of 2 plays, have lost 12 yards courtesy of back-to-back penalties. Jack Mrzinski on the far sideline certainly going to be frustrated as Rayero handles the low snap, tries to force a pass centrally, and it's bobbled there. Rondell Lewis in on the coverage. Kasim was the intended receiver, couldn't haul it in. Rayero again looking over to the sideline, getting the play call. 2nd and goal from the 16. The Bison offense costing field position here early. Defense now looking to try and bail them out of jail as Davis Hereford gets motioned in, then back out, hands the ball off to Malcolm Rogers, does Xavier Rayero, as Rogers fights his way down to about the 13-yard line, pickup of 3. Patrick Shorn and Cy Fofang getting in there, and with just about 10 seconds left in the opening quarter, Hiram does not need to run another play before the teams flip sides. So we've reached the 15-minute mark in the book. Bethany ahead of Hiram 6-3. So the teams are going to flip sides here after a brief break. Of course, the Bison defense continuing to try and stand tall. Gotten a little bit of the benefit of the doubt courtesy of 2 Hiram offensive penalties, and now needing to make one more stop here on 3rd and 13. 3rd and goal scenario for Hiram once again. Had this early in the first quarter, ultimately had to settle for 3 points. We see over on the far sideline, Rayero and the entire offense trying to figure out a way to give them the lead once again. Of course, Hiram's lead was very short-lived as the Bison countered it with a 64-yard strike from Marquise Robinson to Devon McCorder over the middle. All set to begin the second quarter of play. 4 wide receivers set for the Terriers. Mollahan, the lone guy on the wide side left. Got a trio of Terriers on the near side, rather far side right, short side that is, including Kai Francis, who's now motioned from right to left. Low snap to Rayero, drops back to pass, plenty of time, finds the wide open man. It's intercepted by Markel Ross, but a flag is down in the process. Tried to fit it into a tight window, but Ross with a little bit of a I don't think so. Penalty going against DJ Burton of the Hiram Terriers. So the Bison offense will take over deep in its own territory. Rayero throwing the first interception of the game. Of course, he played with fire the entire first quarter, trying to fit the ball into tight windows. Really only a matter of time before one of those passes found the hands of a green shirt and now Markel Ross with an early Christmas gift to start the 2022 season. Of course, it's a long field now for the Bison. Set up shop at their own 7-yard line. Chris Williams, Tim Mickens lining up on the wide side right with the ball at the left hash mark. Robinson getting the snap, handing it off to Owens up the middle, trying to fight his way back to the line of scrimmage, and may have done just that.
Owens, the ball carrier. Brought down by Saraki.
Kevin Saraki getting in there.
No gain on the play, second down.
Rather, Joseph Saraki. Beg your pardon. Robinson lining up in the shotgun once again. Owens to his left. Gets the snap, drops back to pass. Launches this one down the field. Trey Dean climbing the ladder. He makes the catch. Trey Dean trying to fight off a pair of Terriers, and he's shoved out of bounds at the 45-yard line of the Hiram side of the field. Massive gain there from Robinson to Dean. There is a flag down at the Bison 15-yard line. So we now await to see what happens here and whether or not this massive gain comes back. See Michael Jarasinski getting the official ruling.
Illegal hands to the face. Defense number 18.
It'll be a illegal hands to the face penalty against Ricardo Jimenez of the Hiram Terriers. So the long gain will stand for Bethany. Twice now we've seen Robinson reach back and really fire that one over the top. First time to McCorder, second time there to Trey Dean. And the ball now spotted at the 25 after the 15 yards was tacked on to the end of the play, in which Dean stepped out at the 40. Robinson in the shotgun, hands the ball off to Owens, finds a hole. Trey Owens makes a pair of Terriers miss, and Trey Owens walks into the end zone. Touchdown Bison. 58 seconds into the second quarter, and Trey Owens takes it 25 yards to the house. That'll fire up the crowd even more, and the Bison lead gets extended. Now currently at 12-3. McArdle a chance to redeem himself and make it 13. Of course, McArdle missed an earlier PAT, looking for redemption.
McCardle on to attempt the extra point.
Cummings the snapper, Hernandez to hold. Hernandez gets the snap low, and it's going to be bobbled. Hernandez rolls out to his right, tries to make something happen. Stiff arms a man. Hernandez still on his feet. Finds Jacob Munoz, who's shoved out of bounds at about the 3-yard line. So Elijah Hernandez, backup quarterback and also holder, trying to make something out of nothing. Unfortunately does not. So it is 12-3 Bethany over Hiram. Of course, Josh Rance, in addition to his quarterback coaching duties, also the special teams coordinator. So snapping issues have to be sorted out sooner rather than later. As now that is 2 snaps in which have cost the Bison. One time it was field position with the snap over the head of Jeremiah Devertail, and now there a low snap disrupting the hold of Elijah Hernandez. Mansour Ahmed back out to get this one underway. Malcolm Rogers, Raekwon Davis, Hereford back deep to return for Hiram. See Trey Owens on the near sideline feeding himself with the imaginary spoon, just like Zeke Elliott does. That ball's picked up by Davis Hereford at about the 20-yard line, still on his feet, wrapped up at the 30-yard line. Saw Kawan McLaughlin getting in on the stop there.
Brought down by number 28, Sonny Fox.
Sonny Fox also
First and 10
responsible
for
there as Rayero looks for redemption after throwing the INT to Markel Ross. Ball spotted at the 30-yard line. Davis Hereford gets motion from right to left, fakes the handoff to Rogers, swing pass out to Davis Hereford, fights his way towards the 35-yard line, a gain of about 5 there, and now injured Bison on the field.
injury time out on the field.
Markel Ross down on a knee, and TJ Crowder immediately gets set to step on the field in relief of Ross. Just a little bit over a minute gone here of the second quarter. The Bison tacking on 6 in each quarter to this point. Of course, the offense going to be looking for more with much of this second quarter left to play. Markel Ross is back up on his feet, walking off under his own power. So the Hiram offense will look to pick up right where it left off after the 5-yard completion to Raekwon Davis Hereford. 3 wide receivers set for Hiram. 2 to the wide side right. Rayero motioning a man to the left. That's Kai Francis. Handoff to Malcolm Rogers there, who's forced back by a herd of Bison. They're going to spot the forward progress at the 39-yard line, it appears. Brennan Smith, one of the many Bison in there. It's a 3rd and 1 scenario. Hiram going a little bit old school with the huge poster boards in terms of play calling. Got a defense chant going here at Bison Stadium. Brumbaugh motioned. Snap back to Rayero, drops the pass, finds Kai Francis, but it's in and out of his hands. TJ Crowder in on the coverage. It'll be a 4th and 1 scenario for Hiram. And the Terriers send the punt team on one more time. Noah Murray gets set to punt once again. Devon McWhorter, the lone return man for the Bison.
Number 14, Noah Murray. The return man, number 1, Devon McWhorter.
So a very quick sequence there for the Bison defense. That'll certainly please defensive coordinator Dave Arnold. Snap back to Murray. Booming punt. McWhorter going to call for the fair catch, and it'll field it at the 29-yard line. And that's where Marquise Robinson and the green and white will try to add on to their 9-point lead currently with 12.5 to play here in the first half. Robinson has led 2 touchdown drives in his first game as the official starting quarterback. One he threw into the hands of Devon McWhorter. One he handed off to Trey Owens, who lines up to his left in the backfield. Owens gets the snap once again. Fights his way forward down to about the 31, and now a scramble between members of the Terriers and the Bison. Aaron Baird getting his hands dirty a little bit there.
Number 55, Rocky Petro.
Knocking the helmet off of Damian Conklin.
Gain of 1, 2nd down 9.
Going to give Owens just a yard in terms of the gain there as Colton Stoneman makes his way into the backfield. 3 receivers to the wide side left. Robinson the snap. Hands the ball off to Stoneman, cuts it out to the left side. Stoneman trying to turn the corner, but he's forced out of bounds on the far side by Tay Revis.
Tackled by number 12, Tay Revis, out of play.
Bring up a 3rd and 8 scenario now for the Bison as they have
From the 30.
completed a few 3rd down plays to this point, looking to become as efficient as possible in that regard. So now the Bison turn to their sideline for the play call, and things are not aligning properly. Coach Robinson going to call for a timeout. Their Bison first of the half.
Taken by Bethany.
Of course, Coach Robinson wanting to ensure that they get this right. Try to pick up a fresh set of downs. Bringing everybody in within the offensive realm. Talk this one over. The Bison again looking to avenge a 41-21 loss last year in Hiram to the Terriers. Was the first win for Hiram football in 4 years when they beat the Bison last season. Robinson and company return to the field of play. 3 receivers to the wide side right now on the near side. Robinson continues from the shotgun, drops back to pass, plenty of time, finds Devon McCorder, who climbs the ladder and barrels his way down to midfield, more than enough to move the chains. And Devon McCorder continues to make his presence felt and establish a great reputation with Marquise Robinson. Bison offense now moving rather quickly. Robinson relaying the messages to his teammates. Hands the ball off to Stoneman, back up the middle. Stoneman makes a pair of Terriers miss, barrels his way beyond the 45. Going to be a gain of 6 there for Colton Stoneman, the senior out of West Farmington, Ohio.
Leading the charge for Hiram, number 8, Terry Allison.
Allison getting in on the stop there for Hiram
6-yard gain, 2nd down 4.
as the Bison utilize the 2 running back set once again. We saw it earlier in the first quarter for Bethany with Owens and Stoneman split to either side of Marquise Robinson. Chris Williams motion from left to right. Robinson fakes the handoff there to Owens, keeps it himself, tries to cut to the sideline and does. Marquise Robinson picks up the 1st down and more. And they're going to spot him just at the 40-yard line to say he did just enough to get the first. Give Bethany a fresh set of downs. Robinson continues to manage the game very efficiently. Under 10 to play here in the first half. Bison 9-point advantage. Owens now motion from left to right. Robinson hands the ball off to Stoneman, back up the middle. Spin move, makes a few miss. And Stoneman now barrels his way forward down to the 36, a pickup of 4.
Brought down for a gain of 4 by number 56, Floyd Shackelford.
Shackelford bringing down Stoneman, trying to contain this Bison offense. We see Blake Cummings working on snaps over on the near sideline. Robinson hands the ball off there to Owens, cuts to the right side, now back up the middle. Huge hole there for Trey Owens. Bulldozes a man down to the 21. 1st down and change for Trey Owens. And that is the dog mentality that Trey Owens brings to the table. Just does not care who or what he hits until he has been brought down. And now the Bison offense just shy of the red zone once again. Four receivers split out wide for the Bison now. And a stoppage in play. Possible timeout here from Coach Robinson. Michael Jarasinski and crew stopped play, allowed the Bison to complete a substitution, but timeout was not charged. 1st and 10 at the 21. Robinson, low snap, handles it correctly, hands it off to Owens, cuts to the outside, stiff arms a man. Owens down to the 5 and shoved out of bounds by a flurry of Terriers. Trey Owens just continuing to bulldoze through the Terriers. They're going to spot Owens out of bounds at the 7-yard line. The Bison offense knocking on the door, looking for more. Robinson will get the snap. Give it right back to Owens up the middle, and now he's stuffed. Absolutely nowhere to move for Trey Owens as a trio of Terriers get contact in there. Now Owens makes his way to the sideline, catches breath. Stoneman checking in for him. Under 7.5 to play here in the first half. The Bison did defer to the second half, so they can receive the kickoff. Robinson, back corner, fade to the end zone, just out of the reach there of Trey Dean. It'll bring up 3rd and goal now at the 7. Certainly like the idea there for Robinson to try and find Trey Dean over the top of Ricardo Jimenez. Throw just a bit out of Dean's reach. Bison looking to punch it in. On 3rd and goal, Robinson dropping back to pass. Finds Chris Williams over the middle. He walks into the end zone. Touchdown, Bison. Marquise Robinson, a pair of touchdown passes in the first half. And the Bison offense continues to roll. Now 18-3, Bison lead. And John McArdle makes his way out to attempt another PAT. Of course, Cummings still on the sidelines, working through some snapping duties. Hold is down by Hernandez. McArdle's PAT up and good as Austin Oney took over there in terms of the snapping responsibilities. With 7:02 to play, Bison 19, Terriers 3. And this is the dream start to the Brandon Robinson era of Bethany football. Kickoff unit makes its way on for the Bison. Case Scott along with Malcolm Rogers back to return for Hiram. Rogers continuing to get duties there in the return category. 2nd return man. Continuous rotation. So we've seen Raekwon Davis Hereford back there. Mo Yarbrough has been there. Case Scott there currently. Kick there from Mansour Ahmed, fielded at the 17-yard line by Rogers. Cuts to the left side, finds a nice hole, tiptoes the sideline and out of bounds there at about the 40-yard line. So a big return there for Malcolm Rogers, the senior out of Austin, Texas. And Hiram gets excellent field position to try and cut down their deficit. Xavier Reyero and the Hiram offense now with more questions than answers, and is trying to do everything in their power to find some sort of solution and crack this Bison defense. Three receivers to the wide side right for Hiram. Mollahan, the lone man on the left. Rayero dropping back to pass. Plenty of time. Tries to find it over the top. Well overthrown there of Tristan Mollahan. Closest man to it was Isaiah Thomas, but out of his reach as well.
Defending number 6, Isaiah Thomas. Second down.
Rayero just putting a little bit too much on it that time. Rayero still in the shotgun. Rogers to his right. A little bit of a low snap as Rayero drops back to pass. Finds it over the middle. Raekwon Davis, Hereford tried to bring it in, and then he just slaps it to the ground to avoid another interception. Would have been Dante Bellardo who brought it in, but Davis Hereford says, "I'll rather be safe than sorry." And now an official timeout here.
Please reset the game clock to 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
So they're going to add 12 seconds to the game clock. Bring up 3rd and 10 for Hiram at their own 40-yard line.
Third down.
Bison defense looking to stop once again, and now Jordan Aldridge
Flag on the play.
enters the backfield prematurely. It'll go down as encroachment there against Aldridge, as he thought he saw some movement from Hiram, but did not.
Pre-snap penalty against the Bison.
So now a much more manageable
Down and
3rd and 5 for Hiram. Three receivers to the wide side right. Rayero again, low snap, dropping back. The pass fires over the middle, finds Raekwon Davis, Hereford wide open. Thrown down by Isaiah Thomas at the Bison 25. Huge gain there to move the sticks and then some for the Terriers. A little bit of a gut punch there to the Bison defense, who has been thriving to this point. Conceded just 3 points. Low snap as Davis Hereford is motioned, and Malcolm Rogers is brought down in the backfield by Cy Fofang. Rayero again, quick look to his right before he drops back to pass. Finds Davis Hereford over the middle, makes a man miss. Brought down just shy of the 15. Under 6 to play here in the first half.
1 yard short of the marker.
Davis Hereford just a yard shy of the chain, so Bison defense bend but don't break. Looking to do so once again as Rayero turns back and looks to the sideline. Out of the shotgun, Rogers to his right. Draws back to pass. Plenty of time for Rayero. Feed over the middle, tipped there off the left hand of Jarvis Green as Rayero took a huge hit from Rondell Lewis. And now it's decision time for Hiram. The offense appears as if it's going to stay out on the field. Whether or not the Terriers plan on running a play, we will wait and see, or if they simply just try to get the Bison to jump offside. Davis Hereford gets motion. They do hand it off to Rogers. Fights his way forward past the chains as Hiram now inches closer and closer to the end zone. Ball going to be spotted there at the 13-yard line. So they can, of course, pick up a new set of downs before reaching goal territory. Anthony Brumbaugh, the tight end for Hiram, as Kai Francis gets motion from left to right, hands it off to Rogers. Does Rayero, tripped up at about the 9-yard line. And an injured Bison again down on the field. 4:45 to play. It's the third Bison in the half that has gone down. Of course, the Bison conceding the 4th and short scenario as Thomas is back up on his feet. Now Bethany makes their way back out onto the field. It's a 2nd and 5 for Hiram at the Bison 8, trying to chip away at their deficit. What very well could be their last possession of the half. Rogers lines up to the right of Rayero, gets the snap. A few stiff arms there from Rogers, and he's brought down on the near side. Question of whether or not he got back to the line of scrimmage and did just that. Dexter Smith getting his name called out of Ruleville, Mississippi, the sophomore.
That brings up 3rd down.
And now Hiram running out of time here to try and punch this one in. Already back to a 3rd down scenario. 3 receivers lined up out wide. Davis Hereford in the slot. Rayero gets the snap, hands it off to Rogers. Runs back up the middle and is brought down by Brennan Smith along with Patrick Shorn. Not enough to pick up the first. As now the Hiram offense looks like they're going to stay right back out on the field. They picked up 1 4th down conversion already. Look to do so again as Rayero hands the ball, rather keeps it, then pitches it out wide to Noah Murray. And able to break a few tackles and get down inside the 5-yard line. Rather, that was Gavin Brazel who got the pitch there from Rayero. And now it's a 1st and goal for the Terriers at the 3-yard line. Snap to Rayero, hands it back off to Brazel, tries to barrel his way to the goal line and appears to be just a yard short. Bison defense trying to stand its ground.
On the stop, Vickers and Wheeler.
Hiram continues to utilize the 3-receiver package. Little bit of motion on the line. Both sides pointing the opposite way as Rayero continues to look to the sideline and get his play call. Ball on the ground on the snap. Scramble for it. The Bison will say they have it off of the botched snap. And the ball is ruled in favor of the Bison. Umpire Jeremy Rayner quickly signaling that the Bison recovered on the botched snap. We talked earlier about an early Christmas, and that is one right there as Brennan Smith falls on the extra present on the ground. And now the Bison offense with plenty of work to do. Marquise Robinson and company are going to have to utilize every item in the playbook with the ball spotted at their own 1-yard line. This is dangerous territory for the Bison to be. Certainly never appreciate the ball starting at your own 1-yard line. Robinson gets the snap, drops back to pass, finds Devon McCorder running the out route, picks up as much yardage as possible. Shoved out at about the 4-yard line. Clock will continue to run.
Correction to 5. Second down.
They're going to give it to McWhorter at the 5. So he picked up an extra yard. Bison just trying to keep the ball before the half expires as Robinson hands it off to Owens, bounces to the outside. Picks up a gain of 2 there, does Trey Owens.
Tackle by number 33, Brandon Lucas.
So Brandon Lucas gets credited for the stop. Under a minute and a half to go here in the first half. You can tell the Bison really trying to slow this one down. Coach Arnold rallies his defensive troops on the near sideline. Robinson lining up in the shotgun, play clock down to 4. And the Bison just going to let this one go down as much as possible. And now it appears Coach Robinson has taken a timeout, and they have. It's their second of the half. So offensively, didn't like what they saw on 3rd and 4. Just trying to pick up another first down and take this one to the half where it is. A 19-3 Bison lead.
As the Bethany men's soccer team will play Muskingum at 6 o'clock here at Donald Field at Bison Stadium.
Quick timeout there is get the play call, get some quick water in the system for the final 54.5 seconds. Robinson back into the shotgun. 4 receivers out wide for the Bison. 2 to each side. He gets the snap. Hands the ball back up the middle to Trey Owens. Kicks it to the outside. Fights his way forward. Stays on his feet and then ultimately loses some traction before being brought down at the 10-yard line. And now Hiram appears to have called a timeout here. Terriers wanting to stop the clock with 41.3 to play, ensuring that at the very least they get a handful of plays off depending upon the development of each of them. We'll get solid field position out of it as well, with the ball being placed at the Bison 10. Jeremiah Devertail will be punting from within his own end zone. So we got Malcolm Rogers, the lone return man for Hiram at the Bison 49-yard line. Bison with a heavy block punt formation. And now Hiram jumps early, and that'll be enough to move the chains as it was 4th and 1. And the Bison, again, with another gift given to them by Hiram. So we await the call now from Michael Jarasinski. Offsides there against Brandon Lucas. That'll be a fresh set of downs for the Bison. The offense will make its way back out onto the field. Crisis potentially averted there for the Bison with having to punt out of their own end zone. And that will certainly frustrate Jack Mrzinski on the far sideline. with just 41.3 left to play in the first half. Just a matter of running 2 plays, and the Bison can get to the half with a 16-point advantage. As Robinson try to find Tim Mickens, ball knocked away there by Terry Allison. Possibly got a hand on it. And now the stoppage of the clock certainly makes things a little bit more interesting for the Bison. So we see Colton Stoneman back in the game, so 2 running back package for Bethany. Just 2 receivers, rather 3, lined up out wide, 2 to the wide side left. So Robinson will hand the ball off to Trey Owens, cuts it to the left side, into the second level. Owens barrels his way forward down to the 24. It's going to be about 3 yards short. Rather a little bit of a Bison-friendly spot. They're going to rule him just a yard short. And with just 12 seconds left to play, the Bison do not need to run another play. Bethany is going to head towards its own sideline, and that is how things are going to end here after the first half of play. Bethany a 19-3 lead over Hiram. 2 touchdown passes from Marquise Robinson, 1 to Devon McWhorter, 1 to Chris Williams, and then Trey Owens took it to the house himself. The third possession there of the Bison that found the end zone. Hiram just the lone 3 points, courtesy of a Chris Miller field goal, was the opening score of the game. The Bison have scored 19 unanswered points. Both sides are going to head to their respective locker rooms. We'll step aside here on the PAC Digital Network, and when we return, coverage of the second half here, non-conference football live from Don Alt Field at Bison Stadium. Back here at Donald Field at Bison Stadium for the second half coverage live on the PAC Digital Network between the visiting Hiram Terriers and your Bethany Bison, who have a 19-3 lead here on the opening weekend of the Division III college football season. It was Hiram who took an early 3-0 lead courtesy of a field goal 20 yards out from Chris Miller. And then from that point on, it was all Bison. Marquise Robinson finding Devon McWhorter for a 64-yard touchdown pass. Trey Owens took it to the house on the ground for 25 yards. And then Robinson again with his second touchdown pass, this time finding Chris Williams from 7 yards out, as John McArdle made a point-after attempt on the Williams touchdown. First two were no good as a result of hitting the upright and then a botched snap where Elijah Hernandez tried to turn something out of nothing. Unfortunately could not make it happen. It has been all Bison for much of the first 30 minutes of play, with the second 30 set to follow. Argue it was a dream start for Coach Robinson. Not that there weren't areas in which the Bison could improve, but certainly great start collectively, as the Bison are set to receive the second half kickoff. So Marquise Robinson and the offense will get another crack at things and an attempt to extend the lead further.
Johns Hopkins defeats Case Western Reserve 54-14.
So we have Devon McWhorter and Jaheim Hodo back to return for the Bison. Both McWhorter and Hodo standing about the 5-yard line, now slightly moving themselves forward. Both kickers, in terms of kickoffs, have utilized the left hash mark quite frequently, as Miller with a booming kick. McWhorter going to field that one into the end zone. He's going to take it up himself rather than the touchback. Devon McWhorter, wide open hole to the right side, wrapped up at about the 30-yard line, and that's where Marquise Robinson and company will set up shop 6 seconds into the second half. Marquise Robinson has had an excellent start to his time as the starting quarterback of the Bison. It's an open competition entering training camp. As mentioned earlier, Dom Salinetro graduated last year, and it was ultimately his understudy in Robinson who won the job. Coach Robinson credited his work ethic and his ability to understand the playbook as reasons to why he won the job. As McWhorter gets motioned from right to left, Robinson keeps it himself, then slings it out to McWhorter, almost wrapped up in the backfield, and McWhorter is able to scramble his way back to the line of scrimmage and takes a big hit in the process. Actually going to say McWhorter picked up a yard. Argue that was generous spotting there, but nobody in green will be complaining about that. So again, Robinson out of the shotgun. 4 receivers wide, 2 to the wide side right. Fakes the handoff to Owens, finds McWhorter again over the middle. First down and more, down to the 50. Brought down by Tay Revis. Devon McWhorter has been a key target for Marquise Robinson all day long. And just like that, the Bison offense is back and grooving. As we see some substitutions for the Bison. Robinson fakes the handoff again to Trey Owens. Finds a man over the middle down to the 45. That is Tyreek Drain. checking into the game, the senior out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Brought down by number 11, Greg Wilson. Gain of 5, second down 5.
After one play, Drain heads to the bench, gets a pat on the head there from Coach Robinson to signal job well done for a pickup of 5. Now the Bison with 2 receivers to the wide side left. Hands the ball off to Owens, does Robinson, tries to fight his way forward. He's down to about the 43 for a gain of 2, and flag thrown in from behind after the play. Owens trying to signal he was brought down via the face mask. So we await the call from Michael Jarosinski to confirm that.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, 15-yard penalty.
It will in fact be a face mask penalty. Trey Owens pleaded his case and won the appeal,
First down
as that'll push them even deeper now into Hiram territory.
at the 28-yard line.
The ball spotted at the 28-yard line. Trey Owens got up right away and recognized that he was brought down with the metal in front of his face. 3 receivers set for the Bison. Robinson dropping back to pass, plenty of time. Scrambles out to his right, finds a wide open Chris Williams on the far sideline, who tiptoes but ruled out of bounds. Robinson apparently unable to feed it in time for Williams to get a foot down.
Second and 10.
Robinson now getting the play call from the sidelines as the ball gets shifted to the left hash. Williams and McWhorter lining up on the slot of the right side. Owens, the lone back. He gets the handoff, runs up the middle, makes one man miss, barrels his way forward. He's down to about the 25 as Damian Conklin brought him down. Conklin, the sophomore from Harvey's Lake, Pennsylvania.
Gain of 2. Third down and 8.
They're going to give
56.
2 there to Trey Owens. Just under 3 minutes into the third quarter. Snap to Robinson. Hands the ball off to Owens again. Bites his way forward, picks up a few more, but well shy of the first down marker. And now it's decision time for head coach Brandon Robinson. Offense appears as if it's going to stay out there. We've seen a lot of aggression from these coaches on 4th down. Both Brandon Robinson, Jack Mrzinski, both have gone for it more often than not. Robinson gets the snap, drops back to pass, finds Trey Dean on the near sideline. Trey Dean gonna walk into the end zone. Touchdown Bison as the gamble pays off. 24-yard strike from Robinson to Dean, and it is a 25-3 lead for the Bison with 11:24 to play in the third. McArdle makes his way on to attempt the point after. Solid curl route there from Trey Dean. Made Jimenez miss, and then Dean was well on his way to the house. And things just continue to work perfectly here for the offense. Snap down by Hernandez. McArdle's PAT up and good. Extends the lead to 26-3.
And with 11:24 to play in the third, Bethany leads 26-3 over
Of course, last season, when Coach Robinson was the offensive coordinator for Division III Baldwin Wallace University, his offense averaged 32.3 points per game and 368.5 yards per game. So he has the well-deserved reputation of a high-powered offense that is perfectly capable of racking up the points. And with 11:24 to play in quarter number 3, already sitting at 26.
in the third quarter. St. Vincent trails Stevenson 19-14.
And now Malcolm Rogers is back deep for the Hiram kick return team, along with Kay Scott,
14-6.
arguably the most common pairing of kick returners we've seen for Hiram to this point.
Kicking off for Bethany number 88, Mansour Ahmed.
Ahmed
Back deep, Malcolm Rogers.
kicking off once again. He has been quite busy. Fielded by Malcolm Rogers at the 20-yard line. Rogers cutting to the left side, trying to get around the corner, does so, but shoved out of bounds just beyond the 40-yard line.
By Dexter Smith.
Dexter Smith in on the stop, and now the officiating crew going to spot the ball at the 42-yard line of Hiram. We see Xavier Reyero leading the Hiram offense for the first time here in the second half. Reyero, not necessarily the greatest start to the season, forcing quite a few passes, had one picked off by Markel Ross as Davis Hereford gets motioned from left to right. And on the first play, down goes Reyero. T. Fofang getting in on the stop and bringing down Reyero. John Henry Rouse in there as well. And now an official timeout. Called by Michael Jarasinski. Clock resumed. Second down and 19 for Hiram as Reyero is shaken up. So Sean Tejeda will enter the game at quarterback for Hiram. He'll operate here out of a two running back set. Tejeda, he'll get the snap, keep it himself. Tejeda makes a man miss, barrels back towards the original line of scrimmage. Tejeda going to, in fact, pick up 10 yards. It appears they're going to spot it at the 43, 3rd and 9 scenario. Reyero is still on the sidelines. Two receivers to the wide side left here for Tejeda. Dropping back to pass, pocket collapsing, flips it out to the right side to wide open running back out of the backfield. That's Brazel. That's going to be enough to move the chains as Brazel picks up the first down. And Tejeda keeping the offense moving to this point for Hiram in the handful of plays in which he's been in. Hands the ball off to the left side, cutting to the outside, fighting his way forward. That is Dante Venters. And now things start to escalate a little bit on the Hiram sideline. Going to spot it as a gain of 3 there for Venters as Malcolm Rogers makes his way back in along with Xavier Reyero. So just 3 plays missed there for Reyero before getting right back into the game. Swing pass out to the right finds Raquan Davis. Hereford tries to barrel his way beyond the sticks, does so. Brought down by Markel Ross. Isaiah Thomas in there as well. Now Hiram's offense picking up a little bit of momentum. 3 receivers set. Brumbaugh, the lone tight end, under 9 to play in the third quarter. Reyero hands the ball back up the middle to Rogers, who's met by a pair of Bison. Thomas getting in there along with Brennan Smith, the main run stopper.
Brought down by Brennan Smith.
Brennan Smith, the junior linebacker out of McDonald, Pennsylvania. Gain of 3 there from Malcolm Rogers. Two receivers to the wide side left now. Reyero, low snap, dropping back to pass, fires it to the left side. Again finds Raquan Davis Hereford, but not before the Terriers pick up a new set of downs. Reyero taking a big hit once again. Can already bookmark one member of the Terriers who's going to be needing an ice bath after this game. It's number 7 in white, Xavier Reyero. Ball spotted at the 24. Gets the snap, drops back to pass. Reyero, pocket collapsing, rolls out to his left. Aldridge looking for a flag. Back of the end zone pass, the scramble for it knocked away there by Dexter Smith. And now a flag comes in on the near side. Janice Workland, our line judge, apparently signaling a penalty against Hiram. They are going to give the holding penalty there. Jordan Aldridge again winning his appeal. Guilty party there, Donovan Mills, the junior out of Akron, Ohio. That'll push back any momentum that Hiram gained there on the pass from Reyero to Raekwon Davis Hereford. A bit of a bunch formation on the left side for the Terriers. Reyero dropping back to pass, receiving the snap, pocket collapsing, dealing with pressure again, and Reyero just gets that one away, dealing with some tremendous pressure there from John Henry Rouse.
With the QB pressure, number 50, John Henry Rouse.
It's going to bring up 2nd and 20 now. Just over the halfway mark of the third quarter. Bison out in front, 26-3. Four receivers set for the Terriers as Davis Hereford gets motion from left to right. Reyero dropping back to pass. Now plenty of time, finds Davis Hereford over the middle. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage and more. Knocked down on the far side. A few yards short of the first down marker by Josh Johnson.
Gained some lost yardage back and is brought down at the 18. It's
It's a 3rd and about 4 scenario here for Hiram. The ball being spotted at the 18-yard line. Crowd continuing to get themselves into it. Rogers lined up to the right of Reyero in the shotgun. Gets the snap, dropping back to pass. Plenty of time. Finds it over the middle. It's intercepted on the near side. Isaiah Thomas. You knew it was only a matter of time before he came away with one. There is a flag down at the 25-yard line. And now the question becomes, does this come back? So holding penalty against Hiram, so the interception will stand. Reyero picked off for the 2nd time here this afternoon. And the Bison defense forces yet another turnover. 3rd of the game, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble recovery. They continue to wreak havoc on Xavier Reyero and the Terrier offense, as now Marquise Robinson will lead the Bison offense on the field. A long distance to go with the interception taking place at the Bison 9-yard line, so a long field for the green and white. McWhorter sent in motion. Robinson going to keep after faking the handoff to Owens. Makes a few men miss, fighting his way forward. Still on his feet is Robinson after getting some help from his offensive line, barreling his way over the 15, down to the 18. Talk about turning something out of nothing, and that's what Marquise Robinson did, picking up 9 yards after it appeared he was going to get maybe 2 at most. And now Robinson back in the shotgun. This time hands the ball off to Owens up the middle. Owens fights his way forward, more than enough to move the chains. Owens doing what he does best with that bulldog mentality, and appears to be in some discomfort heading over to the sideline as he checks out Colton Stoneman into the game. Four receivers spread wide for the Bison. 2 to the near side, 2 to the far. Stoneman lined up to the left of Robinson. fakes the handoff, flips it out to Dean on the near side. Dean running his way up the sideline, first down and more. Then before being knocked out of bounds, more than enough to move the chains. They're going to spot the ball at the 37-yard line. Still enough to get the first. The Bison offense just continues to move efficiently. Running time off the clock as we are just over 5 minutes to play here in quarter number 3. Robinson dropping back to pass, flips it to Dean to the near side once again. Dean with a nice stiff arm before being forced out of bounds at the 45. It's a gain of 8.
Pushed out of bounds by Ricardo Jimenez.
Jimenez was the one who got stiff-armed, but
Gain of 6, second down,
stuck right with it. They're going to spot Dean 2 yards back, actually, so only a gain of 6 there for the sophomore out of Douglasville, Florida. Robinson gets the snap, fakes the handoff to Stoneman, keeps it himself, cuts to the right side. Robinson getting the first down and hitting the turf. That'll be enough to move the chains as the Bison offense picks up another first down. It's exactly what the doctor ordered for the Bison. Just continue to move the ball, pick up the first, grind down this Hiram defense that is already backpedaling, constantly retreating, and slowly but surely wear them down. Robinson taking his time, letting the play clock run down towards the 10-second mark. He'll get the snap, hand the ball off to Trey Owens, who's back into the game. Owens fighting his way forward near the chains, going to be brought down at the Terriers 45, a pickup there of about 8.
Piles drives his way to the Hiram 45.
They're going to roll it a 2nd and 2.
Yard line, second down 2.
So now the Bison come out. 3 receivers to the wide side left. Those being Trey Dean, Chris Williams, Devon McWhorter. Mickens the lone man on the far side right. Robinson tries to find Mickens, but they're not on the same page. So that throw from Robinson carries into the Terrier sideline.
Third down.
Throw to Mickens, I should say. It'll set up 3rd and short scenario here for the Bison, needing just 2 yards. And now McWhorter going to shift to the far side slot. Short side as well. 23-point advantage here for the Bison. They lead 26-3. And now McWhorter being motioned behind Robinson. Back to the left. High snap. Robinson going to try to keep it himself and just will end up hitting the turf after being brought down by a pair of Terriers. Saraki getting in there for Hiram, and now the punt unit going to make its way out onto the field for Bethany after the Bison lost any sort of potential yardage picked up there in that 4-down sequence. Devertail on to punt. Rogers, the return man for Hiram. A little bit of a low snap there. Devertail can't corral it. Ball's still loose. And now Devertail falls on it. Hiram's going to take over at the Bison 32-yard line. And the snaps just continue to be an issue on special teams for the Bison. See Josh Rance immediately finding his long snapper. Of course, this is a young Bison football team, still trying to unwind some of the kinks in all phases of the game, offensively, defensively, and on special teams. And while this is the time to do it in non-conference play, certainly don't want this to become a trend moving forward. A little bit of a low snap there to Tejeda back into the game, flips it out to Brazel. Picks up a few yards on the near sideline. You have to wonder if Rayero wasn't shaken up a little bit more there at the end of the last drive, in which he took quite a few big hits, or if Hiram's just trying to get some momentum going and thinks that the quarterback change is the best option for it. Tejeda, the freshman out of San Antonio, Texas, motions Davis Hereford to the left side, and now a bad snap there. Tejeda just going to fall on it. So we see a pair of Bison in there trying to pick up the ball. Rondell Lewis, T. Fofang.
Credit the tackle to number 51, Amaron Williams.
Amaron Williams getting in there as well. And now, after 2 plays, Rayero back into the game. So also the possibility of Jack Merzinski turning to a 2-quarterback system, which we've seen fairly often here in the PAC. And now some motion at the offensive line, both sides pointing the opposite direction. And now it's a question of who jumped first. Penalty there against the Bison. Patrick Shorn, the guilty party. That'll move the Terriers up 5 yards. So it goes from a 3rd and 8 to now a 3rd and 3. Much more manageable scenario for Hiram. Line up with 3 receivers on the short side right. Tristan Mollahan, Raquan Davis, Hereford, and Kai Francis. Rayero going to keep it himself after the little bit of a bobbled snap. Takes it past the sticks and then slides. More than enough to move the chains. The ball going to be spotted at the 20. So Hiram has officially entered the red zone. The only time they've gotten points out of entering the red zone thus far was the field goal early on. Davis Hereford picked off again, a 3rd time. That is Markel Ross, his 2nd INT of the game. As Markel Ross continues to read Xavier Rayero like a textbook. And the Bison offense will take over one more time with 47.1 to play in quarter number 3. The ball going to be spotted at the 23-yard line for Bethany. And the red zone struggles for Hiram continue to pile on. As Robinson communicates the instructions to his skills members. 3 receivers to the wide side left. Owen standing to the right of Robinson in the shotgun. Play clock down to 3. Robinson gets the snap, drops back to pass, steps up into the pocket, escapes some pressure, now cut to the right side. Robinson being wrapped up at about the 27-yard line. Pickup of a few there for the quarterback of the Bison. They're going to give him 5. As there is a 4-second difference between the game clock and play clock. So the Bison technically do not have to run a play here before the 3rd quarter comes to an end. But it appears as if they will. Or at the very least want Hiram to think that they will. Robinson hands the ball off to Trey Owens. Runs back up the middle, barrels his way closer to the sticks. Going to be about 2 yards short there of the marker as the 3rd quarter comes to an end. 26-3 Bison over the Terriers, entering the final 15 minutes of play. As the teams get set to flip sides of the field one more time. Here on the PAC Digital Network. As things have worked very much in the favor of Bethany here this afternoon. Mentioned it earlier in the broadcast. Bison looking to make a statement after losing 41-21 to the Terriers last year in Hiram. Of course, Bethany leads the all-time series 2-1, 15 minutes away from making that lead turn to 3-1. The series starting back in 2007 between the two sides. All set for the final 15 minutes now. 3rd and 2. Ball spotted at the Bison 32-yard line. Robinson looking to continue what the Bison did for much of the 3rd quarter. Just keep the drive alive. Keep the ball moving. McWhorter motion from right to left. Hands the ball off to Owens. Owens trying to push his way forward. Stuff there just up the middle. And now question is answered as Owens does just enough to push forward for the first down. Trey Owens needed 2. He got 2. As the Terriers defense continues to search for answers. Robinson operating out of the shotgun. 3 receivers to the wide side left. Fakes the handoff there to Owens. Finds McWhorter over the middle. Pick up of 5 down to the 40. We're going to give him 6.
Robinson's pass complete to number 1, Devon McWhorter.
McWhorter possibly just a little bit of a the extra yard as Greg Wilson got the stop.
Down 3.
Robinson getting the snap. This time hands the ball off to Owens. Tries to barrel his way forward. Just gets back to the line of scrimmage. So it's going to set up a 3rd and 3 scenario for the Bison, who have collectively done well on 3rd downs, particularly those in short yardage scenarios to this point, as Marquise Robinson looks to get his play call from the sidelines. Another member of the Bison roster out of Miami Gardens, Florida. Robinson gets the snap, fakes the handoff to Owens. Quick pass to the left side. It's tipped and ends up falling incomplete. Ballacher getting credit there for the tip. And now the Bison offense stalls. Punt unit will make its way out onto the field. Malcolm Rogers gets set to be the lone return man for Hiram.
The punter, number 35, Jeremiah Devertail. Back deep, number 21, Malcolm Rogers.
Devertail hoping for a snap he can handle, and he gets exactly that. Low punt there for Devertail. Gets a nice bounce as it rolls inside the 20. Still continues to roll inside the 15, and it's going to be downed by the punt team at the 14-yard line. So again, it's a very long field for Hiram to drive. And now the question becomes, which quarterback do we see? Is it Xavier Riero? Sean Tejeda? And it is, in fact, Tejeda that we see. He'll line up with Malcolm Rogers lined up directly behind him. 3 receiver package for Hiram. Tejeda hands the ball off to Rogers, cutting to the left side, running through a pair of Bison. Still on his feet and now being brought down at the 15-yard line.
Shoestring tackle by John Henry Rouse, cleaned up by T. Bofang.
Rouse getting credit there, along with Fofang,
Down and 9.
as Rogers picks up 1. Tejeda lining up in the shotgun. Under 12.5 to play in the 4th. Low snap. Tejeda handles cleanly. Rolls out to his right. Being pressured. Fires downfield. Finds a wide open Kai Francis out of bounds at about the 31 for a first down and more.
For Hiram, first down at the 30.
Spot the ball at the 29. So Francis went out little bit sooner than originally appeared. Still enough to move the chains. Davis Hereford gets motioned from right to left. Fakes the handoff there to the running back. Swing pass out to Davis Hereford, who is hit hard by Sean Wheeler.
Tejeda's pass completes to Davis Hereford.
That was Gabe Hoskins in at running back for Hiram.
A big stop. Number 11, Khalil Jordan. And number 39, Sean Wheeler.
See Khalil Jordan in the game for the Bison. Senior out of Miami. Tejeda continuing to operate the Terrier offense, and now a little bit of a jump there from John Henry Rouse. He's pointing the opposite way, trying to indicate that Hiram moved first, and now gets a quick lecture there from Sean Wheeler.
Offsides. Defense number 50 was contact. 5-yard penalty results in first down.
Was just the 2nd and 5, so the penalty there for Rouse moves the chains. Hiram will certainly take advantage of it as Hoskins lines up directly behind Tejeda. He keeps it himself, pitches it out to Hoskins on the option. Hoskins nowhere to go, tries to get back to the line of scrimmage, is met in a hurry by the Bison. Khalil Jordan getting in there along with Josh Johnson. Dexter Smith also a part of that scramble.
Brought down by number 41, Dexter Smith, and number 22, Jermaine Snodgrass.
No gain there for
Second down.
the Terriers as Tejeda and Hoskins have a quick word in the backfield. Clock continues to wind down. Hoskins moves to the opposite side. Davis Hereford in motion, gets the handoff on the jet sweep. Davis Hereford cuts upfield, tries to gain some yardage, and is brought back. Forward progress going to get Davis Hereford to the 45-yard line. A gain there of 6.
Jordan on the stop.
Khalil Jordan the one bringing down Davis Hereford. 3rd and 4.
And 4.
The Bison defense now looking to be the ones to get themselves off the field. 4 receivers set for Hiram as Tejeda gets more instructions from the sideline. Tejeda wasn't ready for the snap. It gets past him. He's still scrambling for it. Gathers it up, just flings it towards the sideline. And Tejeda, miscommunication there with his battery mate. And now we have some communication with referee Michael Jarasinski. So it appears it's going to be 4th and a long shot. But
Brings up 4th down.
the ball did, in fact, get out of bounds. Tejeda releasing it, avoiding the pressure, so it's a 4th and 4. Davis Hereford motion from right to left, dropping back to pass, stepping up into the pocket. Tejeda going to scramble for the first down and more and get out of bounds just beyond the Bison 45, stepping out at the 43-yard line. As it was a very wild sequence there. Tejeda scrambling to try and pick up the football that was on the ground, just barely getting rid of it into the Hiram bench, and then having to keep it himself there and pick up a nice chunk of yards to set up 1st and 10 at the Bison 43. He'll hand the ball off to Brazel, trying to run up the middle, who goes nowhere, stopped by Dexter Smith and Jermaine Snodgrass.
Number 14, Gavin Brazel carries.
Tejeda continues
22, make that number 1, T. Bofan.
to look to the sideline. Xavier Riero now with his helmet off on the Hiram sideline. Davis Hereford moving from right to left, handoff to Brazel, runs up the middle, picks up a few.
Brazel, flag on the play.
Now flag thrown in the Hiram backfield. Saw Romello Bush
Offense number 75.
bringing down ball carrier Brazel. It's a 10-yard holding penalty against the Hiram Terriers. Derek Hurst, the guilty party.
After the penalty, Hiram has
Center for
second ball.
Terrier, standing in at 6'4", 305 pounds, the sophomore out of Minerva, Ohio. Now pushes Hiram back to a 2nd and 19. Back on Hiram's own half of the field. Low snap, Tejeda dropping back to pass, stepping up into the pocket, going to scramble once again. Tejeda with a wide open lane. Tripped up there. Back to the original line of scrimmage. It was Josh Johnson who brought him down.
Josh Johnson.
Gonna set up a 3rd and long scenario. 3rd and 10 to be exact.
Third down and 10.
Bunch package for the Terriers on the near side left. Rogers to the right of Tejeda, dropping back to pass, stepping up into the pocket, over the middle. Had his man, that was Raekwon Davis Hereford, but he could not corral the pass, trying to get it in around Jermaine Snodgrass. And with 7:22 to play in quarter number 4, despite it being 4th and 10, Hiram is in fact going to keep the offense out there. A possession that can certainly impact how things go down. And now the Bison going to be calling a timeout. Defensive coordinator Dave Arnold wanting to talk things over even further.
Taken by the Bison.
That's the first timeout called by Bethany or even either side here in the second half, ensuring that they do not want to give
More scores
Hiram any sort of
Allegheny falls to
potential momentum here in the late goings of this game.
Delaware Valley defeats Westminster 22-8. Final score, Grove City defeats Juniata 56-6.
Of course, for Hiram, Jack Mrzinski trying to
W&J
do anything they can
Carroll 20.
to keep this drive alive, recognizing what's at stake. The Bison ahead by 23.
Stevenson 19. And end of the third quarter, Montclair State 20, Teal 6.
Both sides making their way back out. Crunch time for the Terriers. Once again, running the bunch on the near side left. Jarvis Green, the lone man, on the wide side right. Roger shifted from right to left, and now Kai Francis moves over to the right. Tejeda back to pass. Plenty of time. Bison playing a little bit of prevent. Tejeda going to take off. Instead, fires it downfield. Finds a wide open Tristan Mollahan inside the 10. Beautiful awareness there from Sean Tejeda to keep the play alive, scramble within the pocket, and find Mollahan on what was a little bit of a broken play, who just kept going. And now Hiram in striking distance with a 1st and goal at the 7. And now injury timeout as Sean Wheeler a little bit shaken up. Davion Eason entering the game in his place. Big pickup there for Hiram as Tejeda moves Rogers again to the left, now back to the right. Gets the snap, hands the ball off to Rogers, runs right up the middle, fights his way down inside the 5. Pickup of about 2. 6.5 to play
Brought down by Romello Bush.
here in the final quarter. Romello Bush getting credited for the stop.
Goal from the 5 after the gain of 3.
Hiram starting to run out of time even with possession here. Rogers directly behind Tejeda. Fakes the handoff. Tejeda dealing with some pressure. Rolls out to his right once again. Tejeda going to keep it himself. Slides forward. Tries to pick up as much as possible. A gain of about 1. We're going to give him a 2-yard gain as a matter of fact. 3rd and goal from the 2. Hiram has yet to find the end zone to this point. Tejeda looking to accomplish that feat. Hands the ball off to Rogers. Going to bounce to the outside, and Rogers cuts the corner and gets in. Malcolm Rogers, his first touchdown of the season with 5:26 to play in quarter number 4. Hiram trailing now 26-9 as the PAT crew makes their way out onto the field, led by Chris Miller.
On to attempt the extra point, number 31, Chris Miller.
Miller making a field goal back in the first quarter. Now getting his second opportunity to contribute to the scoreboard with the point after attempt. Good hold there, and Miller's kick up and good right down Main Street. So with 5:26 to play, it's a 26-10 Bethany lead over Hiram. As the return team makes its way out onto the field for Bethany. With just under 5.5 to play, you have to wonder if Hiram might be considering a trick in their back pocket, whether it be the onside kick or something of that nature. Can tell Josh Rance has set up the return unit anticipating the onside kick. Chris Miller sets it down at the left hash.
Miller on to kick it away. Low deep man, number 1.
McWhorter's the only one deep for the Bison, now shifting over to his left. And Hiram, in fact, attempting the onside kick. Little squib squirts off of Trey Dean, scramble for the live ball, and the Terriers fall on top of it. The Bison brought their hands team, could not be corralled on the far sideline by Trey Dean. And Tucker Marmash comes away with the loose ball. And after the Bison defense thought they were off the hook, they're right back out onto the field. Just 3 seconds later. Tejeda continues to lead the Terriers offense. A little bit of momentum now on their side, certainly making this one interesting. Low snap. Tejeda picks it up, hands it off to the left side. That's Dante Venters, and he's brought down a yard short of the line of scrimmage by Rondell Lewis.
Brought down by Rondell Lewis.
As the clock slowly but surely approaches the 5-minute mark.
Loss of 1, second down and 11.
Bison still with a 16-point advantage. Time favoring Bethany, but Hiram looking to work rather quickly as Davis Hereford gets motion from left to right. Swing pass off the mark there, trying to find Jarvis Green.
Behind a couple of receivers.
We'll set up 3rd and long now, 3rd and 11 to be exact, as Hiram makes a few substitutions. Venters and Brazel exit the game. Kai Francis along with Malcolm Rogers check in. Tejeda in the shotgun, 3 receivers. to the near side left, and now multiple flags fly as we await to see again who moved first. A little bit of a lengthy conversation here with referee Michael Jarasinski. It's a false start against Hiram. It's the left guard, Colton Bogle, sophomore out of Granville, Ohio.
Third down and long.
Makes it third and even longer. 3rd and 16 to be exact. Hiram at their own 40. The Bison sideline trying to get everybody fired up, recognizing what's at stake here. Tejeda in the shotgun, dropping back to pass. Plenty of time, pocket collapsing, scrambling to his right, being chased by Aldridge. Tejeda stays on his feet, delivers a strike to Jarvis Green, who gets back to about the original line of scrimmage. Going to spot him at the 47-yard line of Hiram. So a gain of 7. Set up 4th and 9. Dadrick Vickers quickly checks out of the game for the Bison. 4.5 to play here at Don Altfield at Bison Stadium. Bethany 26, Hiram 10. 4th and 9. Tejeda in the shotgun. Rogers directly behind him. Davis Hereford motioned from right to left. Low snap, receives it regardless. Fires, caught over there on the left side by Davis Hereford. Wrapped up by a trio of Bison, including Isaiah Thomas, Sean Wheeler, and Markel Ross, as Tejeda does just enough to keep the drive and potentially the game alive. As the clock continues to wind down, Hiram's offense continuing to work quickly, recognizing that the clock continues to work further and further against them. Tejeda handing it off to Rogers up the middle into the second deck, and is shouldered down by Isaiah Thomas. That'll be enough again to move the chains as Hiram continues to work both on the ground and in the air. The ball being spotted at the Bethany 28-yard line. As Malcolm Rogers checks out of the game, Gabe Hoskins into the game. Hoskins, the sophomore from Bulverde, Texas, stands to the right here of Tejeda in the backfield, dropping back to pass. Finds Kai Francis on the far side, who is immediately met by the Bison secondary. That was Josh Villegas. Villegas, the junior out of Altamonte Springs, Florida, getting credited with the stop. 3-yard gain there for Kai Francis and the Terriers. Under 3 to play. Again, Tejeda not expecting the snap. Fires over the middle, this time finding Raekwon Davis Hereford. He's down inside the 5, going to be spotted at the 2-yard line. And now things start to get a little interesting. Hiram in striking distance with 2:40 to play. And now an official timeout here.
Injury timeout.
It's an injury timeout there. Once the injured Terrier managed to get off the field, the clock has resumed now at the 2.5 mark. Tejeda looking to make this a 1-score game as Malcolm Rogers checks back in for Hiram. He'll get the handoff from Tejeda, find a wide open hole, and walk into the end zone. It's the 2nd touchdown of the day and of the 4th quarter at that for Malcolm Rogers and the Hiram Terriers. 26-16 now, the Bison lead. And the offense is going to stay out there and attempt the 2-point conversion to try and get this down to a difference of 8. Keep it a 1-score game, or make it a 1-score game, I should say. Currently a 2-score game. Terriers lining up 5 wide. 3 to the far side, 2 to the near. And now Hiram going to call a timeout. That is their first of the half. You can tell Jack Mrzinski didn't necessarily like what he saw with the look the Bison defense had. And of course, Mrzinski probably didn't want to really burn that timeout, especially knowing that the clock is against them to this point and would want to hold on to them in the event that the Bison get the ball back. But prioritizing this two-point conversion in the final moments of the fourth quarter. So again, set for the two-point conversion. Terriers 5 wide. Tejeda empty backfield. Gets the snap, drops back to pass, fires over the middle, and it's knocked away. T.J. Crowder coming up with a big play as Tejeda tried to find Raekwon Davis. Hereford keeps it a 10-point game. And that was a big, big stop by T.J. Crowder and the Bison defense. With 2:17 to play, Bethany, the return team, already out there. They know what's coming. Be another onside kick as Chris Miller tries to work a little bit more magic. He's already put his squad in position to recover it once when the ball deflected off of Trey Dean and was scooped up by Tucker Marmish. And now Hiram getting some final instructions before the kickoff unit makes its way out from Tanner Niles, the special teams coordinator of the Terriers.
Kicking off, number 31, Chris Miller.
Miller ensuring he's got it on the tee exactly as he would like. Miller runs up, completes the onside kick, and it's going to be picked up by Jarius Green, but just as he did, whistles came flying in. And now the question becomes whether or not that ball officially moved 10 yards before Jarius Green grabbed it and continued to run. And now a long discussion continuing on the far sideline. Jack Mrzinski still trying to plead his case.
Illegal formation. Only 3 players on one side of the kicker. Kick the team. 5-yard penalty. Re-kick.
So it'll be a re-kick as a result of Hiram only having 3 players on one side of the tee. So now the kickoff will get pushed back to the 30. Certainly helps the Bison. They very easily could have seen that one continue to go with Hiram in terms of fielding the ball, because it was very close to the 45 when Jarius Green grabbed the football. So Miller now getting set to do it all over again. Miller with the run up. Fell on there by the Bison return unit.
And it's covered up by Bethany. Number 17.
It was Ben Piles, the junior out of
42.
Matthias, West Virginia.
Score first and 10.
As Bethany will get the offense going at the Hiram 42-yard line with 2:15 to play. Hiram still with 2 timeouts in their back pocket. Now becomes the game of when Jack Mrzinski decides to utilize those timeouts. Can only stop the clock twice. A little bit of a stoppage here. We reset the game clock. Took 2 seconds off, now down to 2:13. Robinson operating out of the shotgun. Trey Owens to his right. McWhorter motion from left to right as it's a handoff to McWhorter on the jet sweep. Barrels his way forward, trying to push towards the chains. Brought down at the Hiram 35. And the clock continues to run at this point, inside the 2-minute mark.
Leading the charge,
Joe Saraki
gain of 7, second down, 3.
bringing down McWhorter. As the clock continues to wind. Time still in favor of Bethany. Robinson going to take the play clock down to single digits, already at 8. He'll get the snap, hand the ball off to Owens, rather keep it himself. Robinson going to try and fight forward. Signals for the first down from members of the Bison. It's going to be a yard short, and now Jack Mrzinski going to call his second timeout of the half with 1:16 to play. Looking for his side to pick up a big stop here on 3rd and 1. And then the question of whether or not the Bison go for it on 4th down is certainly one that still remains out there. The Bison have been very aggressive in these short yardage scenarios, as have the Terriers. So theoretically, the Bison, 2 more opportunities to pick up a yard. Coach Robinson will send out Stoneman and Owens into the backfield. Williams now motion from right to left. Robinson will get the snap, hand the ball off to Owens, barrels his way forward beyond the first down marker, down to about the 27-yard line. And with 1:10 left, that should all but wrap up this contest. Hiram technically with 1 timeout in the book still, but with only being able to stop the clock once. Whether they use it remains to be seen. And now, Bison with the clock under a minute. Marquise Robinson lining up in victory formation. He's going to let the clock wind down just a little bit more, get it under 40 seconds. Robinson will get the snap. He'll take the kneel down. And that is all she wrote. Rather, Hiram appears to have maybe called their timeout. Yes, they have. Hiram has taken their final timeout. Clock being reset to 34 seconds, so Marquise Robinson will just have to kneel the ball down one more time. Just a formality at this point. Robinson under center. Takes the knee. And now that is all she wrote, as these country roads are taking your Bison home victorious in the season and home opener here at Don Alt Field at Bison Stadium. Your final score, Bethany 26, Hiram 16. So we get set to wrap this one up here for you on the PAC Digital Network. It was Hiram who struck first in the first quarter, a 20-yard chip in off the foot of Chris Miller. Got the Terriers out in front first. Marquise Robinson, very next drive, found Devon McWhorter on a 64-yard find to the house. Bison offense continued to roll at that point as Trey Owens punched it into the end zone from 25 yards out. The Bison ended the first half with a 7-yard pass from Marquise Robinson to Chris Williams. Made it 19-6 Bison, entering the 19-3 rather, entering the half. Then in the second half, we saw 2 touchdowns from Malcolm Rogers get Hiram within 10, and the Bison tacked on one more strike as Marquise Robinson threw his 3rd touchdown pass of the day. Marquise Robinson, a very solid start in his first time running the Bison offense completely. Upcoming games here for both teams. The Bison back in action next week at W&J to start conference play. That game's scheduled for a 6 o'clock p.m. kickoff. The week off for Bethany. Then back on the road September 24th at Westminster, a 4:30 p.m. kickoff. The next Bison home game will be October 1st here at home against Teal during homecoming weekend, a 4:30 p.m. kickoff. As for Hiram, they're back at it at home next week to start ECAC play against Worcester, 12 p.m. kickoff, as the Terriers have their next 3 at home. Following that, take on DePauw on the 17th of September, a 12 p.m. kickoff as well, before hosting Wittenberg on the 24th of September, also at 12 p.m. Brandon Robinson picks up his first win as head coach of the Bethany Bison football program, and we saw the celebrations begin as he has picked up what is arguably considered the hardest win to get, win number 1, and Bethany has started off on the right foot. The players all congratulating him, and the party is just beginning for this Bethany football team in terms of celebrating Coach Robinson and then having a quick turnaround before getting set to begin conference play next week at W&J here for this Bethany Bison football team. That'll wrap things up here for us at Don Alt Field at Bison Stadium. So you've been watching non-conference Division III football on the PAC Digital Network. I am Drew Von Sayo. The Bison once again back here at home October 1st at 4:30 against Teal. We will see you then. And the Bison men's soccer team kicks off at 6 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in and enjoy the rest of your weekend.